going on, brother?
Shit, brother. How you doing, man? How you doing? You doing good, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A little tired, but another day on the right side of the dirt, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, I spent the weekend in Vegas, so
Oh, okay. How was that, man?
oh boy, it's one of the times of my life, man. Had a good time. Shout out to Nasty Nate, shout out to JG the Don, shout out to Diablo. A little bit of a guy's trip, belated bachelor's, trip because of the
That's
pandemic.
awesome.
So it was just really cool. My boy Diablo, he's a Raiders fan, so I'm a Chiefs, so we got to have a little fun at least until kickoff. You know what I'm
But you
saying?
did go to the game, right?
We didn't go to the game, but we went down there and we were right by it. They was still like, even though the Raiders was out of it and stuff like that, like tickets was still crazy. I grew up with season tickets. Like it ain't that big a deal. But I mean, I at least went to the facility and saw it and stuff. You know what I mean? So it was cool.
Got you.
We definitely gonna try and make that more of a regular thing. And you're more than welcome to get in on that too, Bowley. You already know, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, I say all of that to say I'm tired. That's what it is.
I hear that. I respect that, man.
Yeah, work hard,
Adulting is
play
not
hard. It's
easy.
my last trip. It's the first of the year, but it's my last trip of 2022. We about to lock it down. We focused on 2025.
Got you.
But we'll go ahead and get into it. I think we'll start off with the thing that's probably the most important. A little Damar Hamlin update. He was actually discharged today. I think since we last recorded, he left University of Cincinnati and was at a facility in Buffalo. Just wanted to go home once he was
Yeah.
ready. And apparently he's been discharged. He's gonna be doing all right. He's gonna be doing some like recovery stuff or whatever. So good for him. Shout out to him. I actually got some allies over in the Bills camp. Y'all know who y'all is. How y'all doing? Um, Good thing. In the game over the weekend, they actually had to beat the Patriots to secure their two spot. We'll get into that in a little bit as far as the AFC Championship little situation. But the game against the Patriots, Naheem Hines, who they traded for this year, ran back the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And dude was tweeting, he was active, stuff like that. He even, tweeted out OMFG when it happened. Some people suggested at the hospital that he not watch the game, with the heart problems, but he watched the game. And they ran back the opening kickoff. And the interesting fact about that is that it has actually been 3 years and 3 months since they've had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And obviously, Damar Hamlin's number was three. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's real special situation, man. It's all love. It's all positive. We wish him well. So he's
Yeah, I
doing good.
mean, I was glad to hear that. The only question that kind of comes to mind is, and I know it's not time to talk about it. If I were him, um, and I hate to like just put this out there, but if I was Damar Hamlin, I would not play another second in football.
Yeah.
That's just how I mean, you literally were brought back to life. You know what I'm saying? And
Uh, yeah.
you made it. So I wouldn't even chance. Like there's no amount of money they could pay me that would make me jeopardize my life again on that field.
Uh,
So I'll just leave it at that. Our prayers to his family. I'm happy for his recovery. I'm
yeah.
glad that he's making it. 3 years since they did a run. That's all that stuff is good. Good feeling. I heard he's selling shirts with the heart shape saying, "Did we win on it?" All that
Yeah.
stuff is gravy. Brother, I pray. Don't set another foot in that field, man. It's not worth it. And this is coming from somebody who's, gone through a lot, medically. Like you don't
Right.
need to set another foot in that field, man. It's not worth your life.
um, I agree that it should be probably the last thing on his mind. We'll see how it goes though. What I will say is that it's such a random injury that I could maybe not this year, like especially not this year.
Hmm.
Maybe not even next year. Um, but maybe 2024 going into 25. Because I don't think that this has ever really happened in the magnitude as it has, and I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of monitoring
Well, this
I don't think the NFL would just allow him. Like, there's no regular clearance for this. It's a whole new thing. So like they're gonna have to test the whole thing.
this kind of reminds me of the Chris Bosh situation
Yeah.
when he had that heart thing and they wouldn't let him play again. He had
It's
a
one of
heart
those.
condition. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those. It's like I said, they'll do further monitoring. You know what I'm saying? They might find out something and they won't let him. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? You just never know. So uh but you know how athletes are, man. I'm that way myself, bro. Like he's gonna want to play. Now, should he, will he? You know, but he's gonna want to. So speaking on the NFL, because they got bigger problems on their hands. The fire sale has begun on NFL coaches. Hackett's out. Frank Reich is obviously out. Lovey Smith was just fired. I actually feel
I
bad for him.
saw that.
Yeah, I feel bad for the brother. He out there looking like brother Ibrahim with that white beard, boy. I'm telling you. But holding it down, man. I love Lovey Smith. Like I was, you know what I mean?
That was my favorite coaches, man.
Yeah, I think it was something that had to do with like the first round pick or something like that. I think if the Texans would have just kneeled, they'd have got the first round pick. So it would have been more leverage for them or something like that. We've got a lot of teams looking for a coach, man, and it's gonna be crazy to see how it falls. We'll see how this Rooney rule and the interviews and all that stuff go, but it'll just be another offseason full of that nonsense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they're already talking about Eric Bieniemy. They're talking about Jim Harbaugh's coming back to the Broncos. Everybody named Mama wants Sean Payton. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those. We'll see how it goes, but just know that it has begun. Um, but what actually matters instead of all these guaranteed contracts that they keep handing out to people. Some of them never played football, but whatever. Excuse me. The playoffs are gonna be real nice, bro. Like I was kind of touching on early on the AFC side of things, since the Bengals and Bills weren't able to play 17 games, the Chiefs did get the bye. But if the Bills, who are the 2 seed, end up meeting the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, it'll actually be played at a neutral site.
Mm.
So that's how they kind of, you
You
know,
know, I was
settle
looking
that.
not to cut you off, Drew. I was looking at the playoff, and how come they don't let 8 teams like the NBA or
Uh,
why settle and give the first round or the number one seed a bye the first week? It seems a little unfair.
bro, they used to do only 6 teams. We've only had 7 teams for like 2 years. It
Okay.
used to be six. And basically how
But
that
they've always given a first round a bye, right? Am I wrong about that?
they used to give the first and second a
Got
bye.
you. Okay.
So the bottom four would play each other, and then lowest remaining seed plays the one, the other one plays the two. So
Right.
now there's 7 teams and there's only one bye, and the Chiefs got it. We off this week, so you can see I'm real relaxed. You know what I'm saying?
I heard
But
that.
that's what we got. But since the whole Damar Hamlin thing went down and da 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 da, and the Bills did beat us this season if they make the AFC Championship, um, and it's against the Chiefs, it'll be neutral site. Who knows where they'll play it? Other than that, the Patriots lost to the Bills, so they won't be in it, and they would have won the opportunity to go right back to the Bills and play. So the Dolphins are actually going to be coming to Orchard Park, so we're going to get a little AFC East showdown.
Okay.
Um, and my only hope is that the 7 beats the 2, because then Tyreek Hill got to come to Kansas City. I feel
Mm.
like that'd be a crazy. So even though everybody wants the Bills to win, if the Dolphins can pull this off,
Well,
that'd be insane. But
I
two has already been he's been called out. So Skylar Thompson is going to be their quarterback. So they're probably not going to win, but it'd be cool.
I think destiny has it for them to at least make it to the AFC East. Some might even say win the Super Bowl with the whole Damar Hamlin situation and the three uh in 3 years they haven't had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Certain things happen and then certain things fall in line, and it just happens to be the culmination of why they win the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not rooting against the Kansas City Chiefs. I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying sometimes the stars align, things happen to fall the right way, everything goes your way. The whole country is rooting for you now because of what happened. You know? certain
Yeah, I
teams
mean, I
might
understand
look
what
the
you're
other
saying.
way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no. I know. Everybody's got a once somebody. I mean, there's only 14 teams left, so the other 18 teams they're finding a new team to root for this week.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
mean, I get that. Uh, but I mean, there's still
That
a lot
Damar
to go.
Hamlin effect, though, man. Don't sleep on it.
Hey, and then it's not just the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs, man. You got the Chargers.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert will be in his first playoff game against Trevor Lawrence in his first playoff game. In
Okay.
week three, the Jaguars beat the Chargers 38-10. So this will be a run back of that game to see if basically Brandon Staley's playing for his job, I think. Um,
Hear that?
Dolphins got the Bills, and then the Ravens, who played the Bengals the last week of the season, have to go to Cincinnati and play the Bengals again.
Yeah.
So, and Lamar Jackson's not playing, and he's missed like his 118th practice or something like that. Um, so the AFC's still kind of wide open, bro. You got a lot of good teams, but obviously I'm rooting for my team, and I think we got it, bro. We got this week off. Andy Reid is 21-3 after a bye. So it really don't matter who it is. It could be the Chargers, it could be the Jaguars, whoever it is. I really hope the Jaguars beat them, no, because it's hard to beat a team 3 times, and we already beat them twice.
Got you.
So, other than that, in the NFC, Seahawks, they're going to kick it off on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. Seahawks at 49ers. We haven't seen the Seahawks in the playoffs for a while. It's going to be Geno Smith, Brock Purdy. We'll see how it goes. Brock Purdy's another person that people are rooting for. So we'll see how it goes. Um, Giants, Vikings, to me, I feel like the records might not say so, but I feel like the game is wide open.
Mm.
Both teams have nothing to lose. They have no expectations. They have no, you know what I mean? Like anything can happen and probably everything will happen. Um, Beyond that, and the last thing that I will talk about because I think it's probably the most exciting, that's probably why NFL matchmakers put it on Monday night, is the Cowboys are coming right down this street, dog, to Tampa, and they got to play Tom Brady.
Mm.
Um, Last 3 or 4 games of the season, Cowboys defense hasn't been looking elite. Although Tom Brady hasn't been the best and they're still not running the ball very effectively, they did run for 151 yards against the Cowboys in the first game. Tom Brady is also, I believe, 7-0 or 8-0 against the Cowboys all time in his career. Um, I won't count out Tom Brady in any way, man. And with experience, the fact that Dak is on a pick in 7 consecutive games, real bad pick sixes too, like ugly stuff. Um, it's the Cowboys' game to lose, but I just feel like they're gonna lose it, and it's Tom's game to take, and I feel like he's gonna take it, man. So that's
I I know it's early. I hate to put you on this, but man, who's going to the Super Bowl? That's what I want to know, man. Put your money where your mouth is, man. What two teams?
well,
Obviously, the Chiefs. You go say the Chiefs
well,
coming
I
out the
do
NFC.
I do a long way proposition. I do a long way proposition every season. It's usually like 500 to 1.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing the Chiefs Saints for the last 3 years just because I wanted it to happen. Work related desires.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this season I did Chiefs Cowboys, and that's still a possibility. But if I
Okay.
had to give a backup, if it's not the Cowboys, I think we're gonna see either Mahomes 49ers again, or I mean Chiefs 49ers again, or we're gonna see Mahomes versus Brady again, bro, and it might be the last chapter.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
There's
I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to see that, man, but something tells me it's gonna be Chiefs Eagles, man. That
Bro, it's like I said, these NFC East teams that were supposedly tough, they not looking good this last month. So it's
yeah.
just like to me, Kirk Cousins, I don't know. Dak Prescott, I don't know. Jalen Hurts, if he's healthy, yes, but we
Mm.
don't know. Like, it's just Daniel Jones. We don't know, but we all know that they don't have experience. And you know who does?
Tom Brady.
And I feel like, and they've been there and they've done it. It was just 2 years ago.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if it's their situations to lose, but it's Tom's tournament to take, bruh. And I would not be surprised if that gritty old man is sitting there right in the Super Bowl in Arizona across from Patrick again. And we had this thing on out one more time.
I guess then the final question is if he loses to Tom Brady again, what will you have to say?
I will be on Drew aside watch. Do you know what that is? I will be absolutely. I might have to come on the show in a Kanye mask from now on.
I feel
Yeah, bro, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Again, bro, again. Oh my God.
you.
I live here, bro. I can't do it
I got
again, bro.
you.
I've been dealing with it since it happened. I can't do it.
I feel you.
Uh, but you know what else I can't do?
What's that?
Not travel. So you know who I be hitting up?
Who was that? You tell me about that, man.
Iodom Travel Agency, bro.
Okay.
If you don't know nothing about Iodom Travel,
I know a little bit,
that's
man.
not surprising
I, I,
because
I was looking at this view. I said, this is beautiful, man. Wherever
yes,
this is.
sir. Yes, sir. Untapped, untouched.
It's Lagos, Portugal, they say. It's not the Lagos I'm familiar with, or Lagos, as some would call it. But, but it looks amazing, man.
Yeah, we've always talked about that Legos for Lagos. But what I will say is that, like I said, man, it's just an opportunity to tap in what's never been tapped into, and that's vacations in Africa. That's their focus, but they do other stuff. Portugal, London. I'm gonna be working with them for that. They do both ways. They do, you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff and just unique opportunities for you to get involved and check out stuff and see stuff that you'd never see. And normally they're not gonna, advertise.
Yes,
Check them
sir.
out, Instagram, website, all that.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
It's,
Last thing I'll say about the NFL before we move on to college real quick is that the Chicago Bears.
yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of something that hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean,
First
it's
time.
exciting. The first is the first pick.
It's the first time since 1947 that the Chicago
Right.
Bears got the number one pick.
That is crazy.
Now, truth be told, y'all have y'all quarterback. Y'all have some decent receivers.
Yeah.
I don't think that they pick. I feel like they'll trade it off, for more picks.
See, that
But
would be the smart thing, but if it depends on who's making the decision. I'm not talking about who's making the decision on paper, because they may look at a Justin Fields and say, man, he's not a true pocket passer. We need a true pocket passer, because the likelihood of somebody who runs as much as he does and scrambles as much as he does winning a Super Bowl is very, very low. And the analytics will tell you you're not going to win a Super Bowl that way. So let's pick a quarterback that is a true pocket passer. And they may go crazy and go get a different quarterback. But if it was me,
projected, the reason why I say this because projected number one is going to be Bryce Young, the quarterback out of Alabama.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he's as good as Justin Fields. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you don't want to lose that and then give the Texans Bryce Young anyway.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So because the Texans got number two, and they don't know about Davis Mills. So that's why people was mad about Lovey because he didn't play for the number one pick, which would get them Bryce Young. So you don't want to pick something else and then give Houston Bryce Young anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what they're probably going to do is trade it to somebody who needs a quarterback more than Houston and then get that value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then recoup that value. And then probably go lineman, defense. Y'all got a running back. They said they're going to keep David Montgomery. You got Justin Fields. You got the fan base. You got the history. You got, the third or fourth largest market in the country?
But wouldn't it be crazy if Lovie Smith come back to coach the Bears, man?
Bro, I would be down.
I would be too.
Super dope. That'd be super. Dane would love
it.
Yeah. Other than that, though, college football playoff was Monday night. The final, TCU versus Georgia. Georgia won it last year, went undefeated this year. TCU, first time since 1938.
1 second, bro.
Man. I'm talking about, man.
Make a three-peat.
Well, I mean, they obviously lose their quarterback, and he was the heart of the team in so many ways. So they're going to have to replace that. They're going to have to get that done some way, and that's always a key piece. But defensively, this was a pretty young team. I mean, they lost 15. You look at the offense. Got to start with up front.
5-7 blowout win over TCU and Ross. TCU really struggled against Georgia tonight, both on offense and defense. What impressed you the most about Georgia's performance?
Well, I think you got to start with up front, the defensive and offensive line.
I was hoping to see more of like the plays, but I just thought that was so. At
Bro.
some point, you got to throw in the flag, man. Why did they embarrass them so much?
I'll tell you right now, there's no highlights. There's only lowlights in that game.
Yeah,
I have a real close friend who's a Georgia fan, and Georgia put out the most defensive players drafted in 1 year, just last year.
right.
You would think that they wouldn't have a defense. They wouldn't have that. They came out, they dominated. Nobody believed this Stetson Bennett 2 years ago, and now he's a back-to-back champion. They went undefeated this year. Georgia, this is literally their championship part 2. TCU had no business being there. Shame on Michigan.
But you know what happened though, in my opinion, because I was watching this game. First quarter, Georgia scores. Right back, TCU scores. Then the very next possession, TCU turns the ball over, and you could just feel their confidence get sucked out of that stadium. After that, they couldn't do anything right. It was turnover after turnover, fourth down after four,
It's like I said, bro, like there are tiers to this college football thing, and that's why I don't necessarily like the playoff. This isn't March Madness.
Got you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, football is not a rhythm, a tempo, a hot game like that. Like, football is human chess. You know what I mean? And Georgia is just a better program. It's Georgia. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is TCU. Like, it's not even the scouting, the recruiting, the ability to retain talent, the ability to and I like TCU. The Horned Frogs are dope to me. You know what I mean? Big 12, I like Big 12 football. But it's tough to watch stuff like that. And that's why the next subject I want to talk about real quick before the end of the pre-show is the college football playoff better than BCS? BCS is the old format to where it really matters about when you lose. You don't want to lose late. The key to BCS is if you are going to lose a game, you want to lose the game to like Alabama or, something high ranked, but you want to lose in the first 2 weeks so that you can build your way back up. This way, the actual hottest team is in these, and that's why I feel like it's just better because college football, it's gonna be opportunistic. It's gonna be like that, like you know what I'm saying. And it's just,
I have to disagree with you, man. And I think Georgia.
A lot of people will.
Be that I live in Georgia right now, I got to stand up for Georgia. They have now won 2 championships back to back, if I may say so myself, with this college football. The way it is right now, playoff, as opposed to the BCS. So something is working. Before it was always Alabama, Alabama, Alabama. They beat Alabama last year, proved that they belong. And they continue to prove it with this current thing. Some may argue that they could still prove it in the BCS too. But I think when you put so much weight on not losing at all, I think the way the college football playoff setup is now, you could lose your last couple of games, or you could lose your bowl game, but still have a chance to compete in the national championship. And I don't see anything wrong with that because these bowl games are sponsored by different companies, whether it's the Capital One bowl game or whatever it may be.
Duracell battery and burrito.
Yeah, like they're paying for these teams to go pay because they want exposure to their brand,
The reason why I don't like it is because when you put a tournament and then you make the major bowls, these semifinals and stuff like that, technically these schools are getting 2 bowl games. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot more revenue now, and it's only going to make the gap a little bit bigger. So to me, with the college football playoff, if you do have 6 spots, they want to expand it to 8 spots. They want to expand it to 12 spots. How many times in our lifetime has Alabama been lower than 12? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, it don't matter how they do it. The cream is still going to rise to the crop, and I feel like it did in this championship game when it was 65-7. This isn't week 1 against Bethune-Cookman. This is supposed to be the final.
I think that's just superior coaching. and a superior program. I don't like the fact that with the BCS, it's the computer that decides.
No,
I don't like that, man.
it's not necessarily the computer that's decides. It's about when you lose. If you lose, it's
Yeah.
about when. Losses in the early of the season are weighed as much as late. Because that
Right.
happened to Mizzou. That happened to Mizzou every time. We'd always lose to Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
In that last game, you lose late, brings your stuff down. We ended up at the Cotton Bowl every year.
Yeah.
So exactly. So that's so
Anyway.
so but that's what, and then that's what changed. Once we were able to beat Oklahoma late, that's when we went up and then went to the SEC. And then so it's not a bad, both programs work. I just prefer the older way. I feel like if you're gonna lose early, fight back. Don't blow it late. If you're actually hot, stay hot. You know what I mean? And then,
That's a lot of ifs, man.
well, here's one certain: Alabama's going to be ranked 12 or higher.
Okay.
So it doesn't solve the Bama problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's worked the past 2 years, but I mean, even then, they was in the game last year. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like 2 spots is smaller than 12 spots. So
I feel you on that. And with that said, we'll end the pre-show. Stay tuned for more. Follow below.